Good morning everyone, I'm Occupational. Today we are going to make a presentation on the topic of does emotional labor in service work promote gender occupational segregation. Now I want to present about the emotional labor. Emotional labor performed in the service sector cannot be regarded as a gender-neutral phenomenon. According to Pedinger 2005, emotional labor in service work requires the self-management of laborers' emotion and feeling as a maintenance of their performing role in order to create and control the reaction of the customer. In the 1980s, there showed a decline in many traditional working class jobs and shift to a service sector employment. Working class men undertake the heavy employment, whereas the growth in more flexible and part-time working contracts, which create more opportunities for women. The concentration of women within service sector employment, especially customer service jobs, has led many sociologists to analyze the way in which gender roles are actively reinforced within such occupations. Researchers found that few types of acting mechanisms of emotional labor. The first one is service acting. Service acting involves employees imitating emotions that are not really felt by altering their outward appearance when performing needed emotions. According to Hochschild 1983, deep acting role arises when employees' feelings do not suit the circumstances. They then apply their training or past experience to perform the appropriate emotions. The last one is gening acting. According to Ashford and Humphrey 1993, that gening acting is used to indicate the situation where employees spontaneously experience and express same emotions. My personal experience is when I worked as a waiter before and I used deep acting technique to control my emotions and anger when dealing with an annoying customer. I try to remember that he is drinking too much and he is like a little child. Really, that's what he is, and when I see him that way, I don't get mad that he is yelling at me. He is like a little child yelling at me. In this case, I use deep acting to change my emotions and feelings by deliberately visualizing a substantially portion of reality in a different way. As the competition becomes more intense in service industry, many service companies challenge their employees to strive for world-class service and to enhance the authenticity of the service performance. The consequences of emotional labor. The negative consequences is, according to Marriage and Bellman 1997, found that the greater emotive dissonance, which is a form of estrangement of self and work role, is significantly associated with increased emotional exhaustion and decreased job satisfaction. Similar relationship between emotive dissonance and job satisfaction and emotional exhaustion are found in Abraham's 1998 research as well. The positive consequences is Wharton 1993 found that the workers employed in jobs requiring substantial amounts of emotional labor experience higher job satisfaction and low emotional exhaustion than other workers. In a review of the negative and positive consequences, the research in this area is still in its infancy. There is no universal conclusion about the consequences of emotional labor. Thank you. That's my part, and now I pass it to my member.
Good morning everyone, I am Luwani. Now I represent about service work. According to Philip Loeffler, a service is an act of performance that one party can offer to another that is essentially intangible and does not result in the ownership of anything. Its production may or may not be tied to a physical product. In the late 1970s, services accounted 60% of all employment, but now it currently accounts for over 80% in Britain. Kozinski and McDonald define service work as a work that involves working on people. The important differentiation between service work is whether they are direct person-related jobs or indirect person-related jobs. According to Hochschild, for the purpose of increasing corporate profit, service workers become similarly alienated. They can't express their true emotions and they must transmute their feelings of hostility into a smile. According to Dixon, service work has been classified into few subsectors, which are producer services, distributive services, personal services, and social services. For producer services, it intermediates inputs for further production. It is a highly skilled white-collar work Male outnumber female in top-end occupations, female significantly outnumber male in low-level clerical occupations. The fastest growing activities in this subsector are financial service, insurance, and real estate. Distributive services is about movement of people, information, and commodities. Nearly half of all non-employment in the service sector provided by distributive service. The key activities are retail, wholesale, transport, and communication. For personal services, it generates an array of low-skill interactive servicing occupations. Female dominated in this service, for example, hotels, bars, and restaurants. For social services, it is the largest service subsector and generates high skill and educational requirements. Female-dominated lower-level caring occupations, male-dominated very high-level occupations. The example for this service includes government, health, and educational. My personal experience which relates to the topic is me as a customer which having a meal in McDonald's. When I order my meal at the counter, the workers of McDonald's will ask politely to me about what kind of food that I want to order. After my meal is prepared, the worker will say enjoy your meal or have a nice day with a smiling face. From here we can see the McDonald's well train their workers who know to control their emotions. Thank you. Now I pass it to my member.
Good morning everyone, I'm Shin. Now I will present about the gender in the emotion label. Gender differences are often a focal for interest and the area for the emotion label is not as special. According to the Hochul 1983, majority for the service job are performed by women, and as such gender become an issue for the emotion label. In the addition, the relationship between gender and emotion difference is that women are more likely to report the feeling differently than they express, and also it is unclear if this means that men are showing the emotion that are inappropriate for the job for simply not feeling the emotion. According to the female teachers and mentors 1998, in the developing this idea, one can say that men and women have different movements for regulating emotions, since women are more concerned with getting along, whereas men are more motivating to stay in control and express powerful emotions such as anger. However, in the customer service setting, this motivation may not work in men's favor. Besides that, it is possible that in the service setting, men may need more training and manage emotion when dealing with customers, since it is different for them to express the feeling, and the emotion label will affect women by perpetuating occupation circulating and the gender wage gap. For my personal experience, I worked as a cashier in supermarket before. I realized that it's no male cashier. However, we can see many male workers use their own strength for other work such as move the heavy organs. And as our discussion above, it is shown that females are better to control their emotions, so they will be able to work in service industry in order to handle the different customers in the different situations. Cashier is belong to personal service job because women are more concerned with getting along, whereas men are more motivating to stay in control and express powerful emotion. Thank you. This is on my part. Now I will pass to my member.
Good morning everyone, I'm Curly and now I will present about the gender occupational segregation. According to Pandemic and Raskin, gender occupational segregation is refers to different distribution of men and women across the occupations, jobs and places of work. And this is strongly related to emotional labor. According to Anchor, gender occupational segregation is one of the most insidious aspects of inequality in labor market, which is generally accompanied by lower pay and worse working conditions in female occupation. And this is also one of the most enduring aspects of labor market around the world. According to Malthus and Anchor, the general root causes of gender occupational segregation are social, economic, cultural, and historical. And these factors concern the social norms and stereotypical perception regarding male and female, education and vocational training, taxation and social security, structure of the labor market, and discrimination at entry and in work. From my personal experience, I had been worked as a receptionist at a boutique hotel, and this hotel actually has the rules which is male should not be hired as a receptionist due to their gender role. Like what Nissan stated, a lot of employment in distribute service is manual, low skill and male dominated, such as transport service. Inversely, personal service generates an array of female dominated, consumer oriented, low skill interactive servicing occupations in place such as bars, restaurants, and so on. Besides that, Hochschild also stated that jobs which need to deal with the public will require emotion management as a part of the job description, such as showing smile and be polite. In addition, women should engage in more emotion management situations so they are better at managing emotions and thus performance would be better. As a conclusion, employee, particularly in service industry, requires to show positive expression in order to maintain a good relationship with customer. And emotional labor is very crucial in any service industry, hence it stimulates the development of the particular organizations based on constructive significant employed by emotional labor. An organization should not only focus on benefit but also should put positive consideration about human dignity and give the freedom to employees to decide in which ways to use when offering service rather than forcing them to smile as a result of negative consequences. Besides that, organizations' rules should be flexible to give the employee chances to act in the real situation rather than pseudo feeling. That's all for our presentation today.
So, any questions?
Yes. How has your experience handled different gender expectations?
For my personal experience, I work as cashier in supermarket before. I realized there is no male cashier. However, we can see many male workers use their own strength for other work. As our discussion above, it is shown that females are better to control their emotions, so they will able to work in service industry in order to handle the different customers in different situations. Cashier is belong to personal service job because women are more concerned with getting along, whereas men are more motivated to stay in control and express powerful emotions. Okay.
Any more questions?
Yes. What is the impact of the emotional labor you identify on the employees?
Some researchers found that the impact of the emotional labor will increase emotional exhaustion and decrease job satisfaction. In contrast, some claim that higher job satisfaction and lower emotional exhaustion. So we can know that there is an impact on emotional labor's job satisfaction and emotional exhaustion, but we don't know if high or low.
Any more questions?
Yes. Do you think gender occupational segregation is justifiable?
Gender occupational segregation is not justifiable because traditional gender role will limit what both gender can do, and it might be unfair because gender will enslave us, force us to be what others want us to be. Like what Guy and Newman stated, feminized work tasks are not a part of formal job description and performance evaluation. That's all.